What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the first ever Phaithful Fanatics Reaction Monday show. Um, Look, there's a few things that go into this show. I'm joined with my guys, Gint, intern Dave, the first time this dynamic duo is being put together. Hopefully not the last. But we do, for those of you that watch us, we do our regular show on Thursday nights. And I texted Gint today, and I couldn't wait to get out my frustrations from yesterday's Eagles game and that debacle that it was. 17-point lead, almost going into halftime. Already by the 2-minute warning. Eagles get the ball back. Doug Peterson keeps his foot on the gas, which at times can be great, and we know how Doug likes to be aggressive. And other times, it's just better to run the ball and get to halftime with a 3-possession lead. Carson Wentz throws an interception. Washington football team scores off of it, and that really turned the whole game around. So, guys, there's a lot of blame to go around in yesterday's loss, where they gave up 27 unanswered points to a team that doesn't have a name. Quite frankly, a JV squad. So, again, where's the blame going? Before I just lose my mind on this show.
You'd have to get the phone book out for that one. Obviously, Carson just flat out was not good enough. Doug Peterson was not good enough. The offensive line, even though it's banged up, was not good enough. There's so much to go around in terms of blame, but overall, Carson just has to be better. In the first half, he basically looked like lights out. I remember we were all texting each other prior to the interceptions. I was like, dude, this is like you said it, MVP Carson. Like, this kid looks unbelievable right now. And then he just looked like he was lost all of a sudden. He looked like he never played it down in the NFL all of a sudden. So I'm going to go with him as the most blame, but there's a lot of blame to go around.
Dave?
Yeah, I agree. There's a huge list that you could start rattling names off. I think it starts at the top, and it kind of trickles down a little bit. It's funny when you lose a season opener, you think it might come down to preparation and like coaching and stuff like that. But this team looked phenomenal in the first half. So I don't know what the deal was between the first half and the second half. Maybe it's lack of preseason, lack of touches. I don't know, but I think it starts at the top, and right below Doug to me is Carson. So I agree with Gant.
So much goes into this game. Like, as Eagles fans, I think we experience like the highest of highs at the beginning of this game, and then the lowest of lows. It was the weirdest, most frustrating, disgraceful, ugly game I've ever really experienced as an Eagles fan in my 22 years. And it's always funny, like, starting a season down 0-1 feels like the world like the world's falling apart compared to starting 1-0. Like, there's just a big difference in my opinion. And I know, like, as the week goes on, we'll get ready for week 2 and against the Rams and how they can turn the ship around. But there is a ton of blame, but I think it comes down to the 3 components, and it's all on the offensive side of the ball. The defense, I'll start there because that was the only bright spot on this team. I don't care that they gave up 27 points. The defense did not allow a scoring drive from the Washington football team of more than 48 yards. They had no drive go over 50 yards where they scored points. 6 of the last 9 Washington possessions started in Eagles territory. The 2 that got them back in the game off the interceptions from Carson Wentz were in Eagles territory. The one was brought back to the 40-some-yard line. The second was brought back to the 20-yard line. So, look, here's what I'll say. It starts with Carson Wentz, because without those 2 interceptions, the Washington football team never gets any momentum and they never get back in the game. So that's where I've never seen a quarterback play so damn good and look like he's in MVP form. What did he start? 14 of 18 for 170-some yards. Those 2 touchdowns to Ertz and Goddard. He looked absolutely amazing. And then, boom, that first interception happened at the end of the half. And he never turned the page and got back to what he was doing in the first half. Now, that could be mental. That something's just off with him. The offensive line could play in a role with that. The play calling could play a role with that. But before I move on to the offensive line, the thing with the interceptions is, are they his fault? Yes, they are Carson's fault. But they're not all his fault. They were both out routes towards the Washington sideline. They were both thrown towards rookie receivers, if I remember correctly. I'm pretty sure the first one was towards Reagor. The second one was towards John Hightower. Without routes, they're timing routes. They're repetition. Like him and those Carson and these rookies, they didn't have any real game time. They didn't play preseason together. They had a weird shortened training camp. And it's just I don't know why those throws were made towards that side of the field towards a rookie. Secondly, the second one, John Hightower doesn't fight for the ball whatsoever. It's a comeback route. John Hightower doesn't come back to the ball. He doesn't even fight for the ball. He just stands there and waits for the ball to come to him. That cannot happen in that situation. But moving forward, the offensive line, I feel, again, you can cut me off here in a second if I'm wrong, but when Jack Driscoll went down, not that the offensive line was playing great, but it was serviceable when Jack Driscoll was at right tackle and Herbig was at right guard. And that's when they had the 17-point lead. It seemed to me like once Driscoll went down, and I'm pretty sure I heard he left the game due to cramping, which cannot happen in the season opener. That's when the wheels fell off, and Jordan Mailata had to come in at right guard.
No, yeah, I definitely agree. That everything looked terrible after that. It seemed like every single play he had 4 or 5 people in his face once that happened. It was just, like you said, the interceptions might not be totally his fault, but there's a lot to blame there, but we'll get into it more with him. But the defensive side of the ball didn't look bad. I'll say that too. Like you said, if that many times they're going to be where they're going to start drives on our side of the field, they're going to score points. It's going to happen. So
yeah,
you can just
I'm not trying to take anything away from. I'm not trying to take any of the blame away from Carson on the interceptions. They are partially his fault. But I think there's more than that meets the eye there that most fans aren't going to see. Like, oh, it looks like a bad pass. In reality, it's a timing route with rookie wide receivers who aren't fending off and getting good position on the quarters that are trailing them, and they don't fight for the ball. I mean, all that goes into those 2 interceptions. He also put the ball on the ground twice. One was recovered by the Eagles, one wasn't. So that's still an issue. And the last thing that plays into the offensive line and Carson Wentz is he was sacked 8 times. I think he was pressured 15 to 20 times. 5 of those sacks he could have avoided. Okay, I know he took the one that put them out of field goal range. I'm not blaming him for that one because the middle linebacker came clean right up the middle in half a second. He had no time to do anything. Carson needs to get rid. I will go to war with Carson Wentz 7 days a week, 365 days a year. That is my guy. You will not convince me otherwise. I will not stand here and allow people to just pick him apart. Anyone that's calling for Jalen Hurts already, people that are rooting for him to play like the way he did in that second half, you literally disgust me. I think he is elite. You saw that in the first half. I don't know what happened in the second half, okay? And he needs to clean that up. But if there is a spot in his game besides that he does need to fix, is getting rid of the football, learning to live and play another down. Like, too many times does he try to create plays that just aren't there, and he takes big sacks for big losses in sometimes crucial moments, and that's what kills the Eagles, and that's what kills him at times and takes them out of a rhythm offensively. He could have avoided 4, 5, 6 of those sacks easily yesterday, and those sacks can sometimes contribute to him fumbling the ball and putting it on the turf.
Yeah, I agree. He has like a sense of like he has to be Superman, and he does that duck that you see 1,000 times, and it worked the first drive yesterday, and then it didn't work again. Like you said, it's just there's times where you have to live and just see the next down, and he's the young card's getting old in terms of this because this has been a problem since he's been a rookie. So it's getting to the point where it's like it's got to be figured out. It has to happen. It's been his biggest flaw probably since he's been a rookie. So it's like, how has it not been addressed? But
it's pocket awareness, and it's like the Kerrigan play sticks out to me too. Like the screen that Kerrigan blew up to Goddard, just throw it at his feet. I understand you're in the pocket and you can't make a strong throw to Silent, or it would have been intentional grounding. Just throw it at his feet.
Yeah,
nothing happens there. You took like an 8, 9, 10-yard loss on that play because you wanted to create a play that wasn't there. He's got that is going to kill the Eagles this season if he doesn't learn to just live to play another down. Dave, thoughts on Carson Wentz?
Yeah, I agree with what Ginn said. I mean, the argument for him has always been that he's young, he's still growing. But I mean, this is what his 4th year now, I think.
Yeah, 4th.
I mean, he's a veteran. Like at the end of the day, he's still a young guy, and he's still young in the league. But at the end of the day, he's a veteran. People look to him in the locker room for that kind of motivation, and he's a leader on the team. And I mean, at times, I think that his decision making just looks slow. So I mean, I like I said earlier, I don't know if it's like, and also like you said, it was a weird shortened training camp. It's been a weird start to the season. I don't know if it's just the different environments getting to him or what, but I mean, it's been an issue. But I mean, it can't be an issue much longer, or else this ain't going to be a fun season.
Okay, let me get to where I cast most of my blame for the terrible, disgusting loss we had yesterday. Like I said, to me, it starts with Carson Wentz. The comeback from Washington, the momentum that allowed them to get that trash team back in the game, because Ron Rivera is a good enough coach where once they got momentum, he was able to bring them back. It started with Carson. They do not come back without those 2 interceptions. However, those 2 interceptions only led to a 17-14 game. The blame, not that it takes anything away from Carson Wentz's blame, not that it take anything away from the horrific offensive line, because they all get blamed. But the most blame, in my opinion, starts with the head coach, and that's Doug Peterson. And it's an issue that happens over and over again, and I'm honestly getting tired of it, because everyone that doesn't like 11 always waits for this. They love these moments when he messes up, when he falls apart and looks like he did in the second half. And it's Jalen Hurts, or we should have kept Nick Foles, and it's this and that. And no one remembers. No one will look back and say how great Carson Wentz was in that MVP year in 2017 that got the Eagles the 1 seed, that ultimately got them to a Super Bowl. Nick Foles doesn't get to the Super Bowl without home field advantage that year. Okay? No one gives Carson Wentz that. When he plays bad, no one says, yeah, but Carson Wentz contributed to a Super Bowl in this city. Everyone, and I mean everyone, says, well, yeah, Doug Peterson coached a bad game, but he won us. He adjusted with a backup quarterback and won us a Super Bowl in 2017. Well, why does Doug Peterson get that card, but Carson Wentz doesn't? Okay, because let's see, classic Doug. What did I say to you again on Thursday? I said it on the pregame show. If the Eagles, if you look back at the box score, and Carson Wentz threw the ball 40, 45 plus times, it was not going to bode well, and it wasn't going to be a good sign for the Eagles. You had a 17-point lead almost at halftime. You had a 10-point lead at halftime. You finished the game with 15 rushes. That is inexcusable. I don't care how bad Carson Wentz played. That should be another factor to run the ball. You have an offensive line that is getting absolutely tortured, and you don't run the ball. You have an offensive line and a quarterback that's struggling. And not only do you not run the ball, you don't try to get the ball out of his hands quickly. You don't run any screen plays. You go completely away from the middle of the field and your 2 tight ends that was dominating in the first half in Dallas Goedert and Zach Ertz. You go away from that completely. You don't do what worked so well for Carson in the last 4 weeks last season, which was rolling him out of the pocket and making plays with his legs outside the pocket. You keep him in the pocket every play, every possession of this game. And not only that, but like I said, with not getting the ball out of his hands quickly, you're running go routes and trying to push the ball down the field. Doug, we get it. You have speed now. You're excited to showcase your weapons on offense, but that was not the time to do it. This game is 110% on Doug Peterson. Yes, it is on Carson Wentz. It is on the offensive line. But to me, the fact that that's getting overshadowed, it blows my mind. We have, again, I don't know if you remember, but Wild Wild West here is under a different name. Wide play action pass when not running the ball a lot. I don't know if he's talking about something that I said. Or if he's talking about what the Eagles were doing. I'm not even saying do play action pass. Just you didn't run a screenplay. You didn't do any 2-step drops, get the ball out of his hands quickly, run pass options. Nothing. You went away from the 2 tight ends that were working. Oh my God, he absolutely killed 15 rushes and what did Carson throw? 49?
42 passes, 24 to
42 passes to 15 carries when you had a 17-point lead with the ball under 2 minutes left.
Yeah, the play calling did Carson no favors. And I mean, you kind of like he said, why are you even going to try to play action pass if you're not running the ball off? And then they're not going to bite on the run. They're going to anticipate a throw. It doesn't make sense. There were no favors done. I don't know. I'm disappointed. That's all I can.
But what else does the play action pass do? Not only do they know that it's predictable and you're not even running the ball to disguise it, it also prolongs the play. It also makes the line have to hold up longer.
Definitely takes more time to develop, and with a struggling offensive line that's missing 2 starters, it didn't make sense.
And here's another thing. I'm starting to not trust them either, which is really worrisome in my opinion. When Jason Peters was at right guard, what was the story? Matt Pryor has had a good camp. Matt Pryor is going to be our left tackle. Jason Peters moves back to left tackle. Matt Pryor is going to be your right guard. Well, then it comes out that Lane Johnson isn't playing. He was a game-time decision. He traveled to Washington. He doesn't play. His ankle's still hurting. Then it comes out that Nate Herbig and Jack Driscoll are starting. Then not only is he still not a starter at any of the positions that you're missing 3 starters, but he's not even the backup to the right tackle.
He didn't even play. He didn't even touch the field.
Jordan Mailata got in the game.
I agree. Dude, it was just dating back to your running point, and everyone's like, oh, well, you didn't have your number 1 running back, so why would you run the ball? No, you're up 17 points. They could have handed it to us 3. Even if we get 2 yards, it doesn't matter. It's just you got to chunk time off the clock. And like you said, that Matt Pryor thing was like when Jordan Mailata walked out, I was like, whoa, like this is not good. That was his first down, right? In a regular NFL season, in a regular season game.
In a regular season game, he might have had to play a little bit last year. I don't remember. And
regardless, like you said, all you did is talk about Matt Pryor and how he's had a good camp, and we were okay with Peters not playing left tackle because he could play right guard. Like, he wasn't even a thought. He wasn't even a thought. Like, dude, Doug Peterson was so bad yesterday.
Hold on, your mic's a little messed up. Try to talk again.
You hear me now?
Talk again.
You hear me now?
Yeah.
I would give Doug Peterson a D- yesterday. Is what I was basically getting to.
Unacceptable, really. I mean, we can like point fingers at all the different names and all the different players and everything, but like I said,
where did it start?
Starts at the top.
Listen, I know people are going to look at this, and especially the Carson haters are going to come back, and if they're watching this and whatever. I'm not taking, like I said, I will go to war with 11 every day of the week. That's still he's still not getting away with anything. Like he's still getting a lot of blame from me. But to me, the most of the blame goes to Doug Peterson. Wild Wild West says, what was the excuse for Deshaun Jackson not playing most of the first half? I think I saw that Deshaun Jackson only played 54% of the snaps, offensive snaps or something like that. So I don't know. I really don't know the answer to that. There was like, I know he's on the sideline a lot, like stretching and like moving around, and there was like people were all over Twitter like, is he hurt or something wrong with Jackson? He tweeted that he's not hurt. His mom tweeted that he wasn't hurt. I don't know what the thought is here. I do agree, because not only did you have Deshaun Jackson not on the field, which sucks, you had John Hightower, who clearly, I know he had a good camp, and obviously I'm not giving up on the kid because he had one bad game, but John Hightower was not playing well in week 1. So the fact that you kept Djax off the field and kept him in the game, also, not that this guy has anything to do with the blame, but Gint, your boy, he had a great camp.
He's running cardio.
He had a great camp. He was a different guy. He looked like a different guy.
He sucked.
Did he even get targeted yesterday?
0.
And just for those of you wondering, we're talking about JJ Arcega-Whiteside.
I was wondering if you guys were talking about.
Cardio man.
He didn't get targeted yesterday.
0 targets, 28 snaps.
42 pass attempts, not targeted once.
He says, Doug Peterson likes to hide things from the media. Yeah, no, trust me, I get it. But when Djax is tweeting that he's okay, I think that's a shot at Doug and at saying like, no, you're not gonna like downplay this. Like you just didn't put me on the field for whatever reason. Look, I just like I said before, it was the highest of the highs in the beginning. They came out on fire. One thing I said on the pregame show was to look for this team to come out fast, up-tempo offense. Look for them to score quick and early because they struggled doing that last year. How many games did they not score a touchdown or even put points up in the first quarter all of last year? They come out, they score right on the first drive. They go up 17-0. Carson looks like he's in MVP form. Doug's calling a great game. Both tight ends are getting involved in scoring. You have a sprinkle of Jackson, a sprinkle of Greg Ward. He hits Rager for his first bomb connection for 55 yards on a beautiful go route that beat Ronald Darby. Everything was clicking. And then, like I said, it starts with Carson Wentz. He threw the first interception. Should that have been a pass play? I know Doug likes to be aggressive. 17-0, minute and a half left in the first half. Just take, and you get the ball to start the second half. Take the ball into the second half. Run and play. Now, if Boston Scott breaks a 20-yard run, okay, then you might want to go get points. But the fact that you're trying to push the ball with a minute and a half left to get even more points from your own 20, 25-yard line, you're being greedy, Doug. You are. It's the bottom line. Now, should have Carson have forced that pass? No, and it's on him. But there was no reason to run that play and try to get more points when you get the ball in the second half. And I know it's a give and take with that. Like, if it works, oh, we're cheering. If not, this is what you get. But look at what you got. That's where the decline came. And then I really don't know. Like, before we wrap things up here soon, guys, going back to Carson Wentz, because like I said, he's not immune to the blame today. Do you think, like, what happened? Like, I know the line has to play some part in it, but do you think that was, like, a huge part in it? Are we missing something? Like, was he just so, like, rattled back there that he was getting hit literally over and over and over again? And then they blow that lead, and that's what contributes to him, again, trying to make plays that aren't there and get it and taking sacks because he's like, I got to be Superman. I got to win this game because I blew this game for us kind of thing. Like, what happened?
Yeah, I think that definitely plays a role into it. And everyone can say this and that about Carson and that just because he had a hurt offensive line, he legitimately was probably down to his 8th lineman. Like, I think the line had a huge thing to do with it. No matter who you are, that's definitely in your head. You have a guy that hasn't played 10 probably downs in the NFL. Like, that's in the back of your mind, but it still doesn't excuse the throws he was missing. The one throw that he threw down the field, he missed Rager on a touchdown. Right. He missed that 3rd and 3 in the fourth quarter. He missed Deshaun Jackson over the top that should not have been a deep ball. But
right, and then the man that wants a contract extension drops on 4th down. Right,
that hurt my feelings. I took that as like an insult from Zach Ertz, and he dropped that pass.
At that point, the Eagles were trailing by what?
7.
I personally thought that maybe you shouldn't have gone for it there. You had 3 timeouts. I think maybe you punt it. You punt. You get them deep in their side of the field. Like you said, they didn't have a successful drive from their side of the 50. I think you pin them deep. The defense played all right. I thought you get the ball back. You use your timeouts. I don't know. I think the
defense played really well. But we have another comment. Dallas Goedert barely over 100 yards receiving. Ertz pretty much had nothing. Any concerns? Is that a sign that Howie made Well, first of all, Wild Wild West, I appreciate you for watching and being interactive with us. But can you comment again? Because Dallas Goedert barely over 100 yards. Is that actually a concern for you? Because that's a hell of a day.
No, he's saying that, are we concerned that
for Ertz? Okay.
He may be thinking about
for a second. When I read it at first, I was thinking, like, does he mean that's a concern too? But no. I don't. Does Howie and Zach Ertz, does Howie part ways with Zach Ertz? Possibly, especially when reports come out that a week ago they got into a heated argument in front of other personnel on the team. Yes, that's concerning. Yeah, for Ertz, okay. But the thing with Dallas, I saw that I think Mike Tannenbaum tweeted out about with Blake Jarwin going down and the Eagles' injuries on offensive line. It would be a great matchup. There is no way in hell Zach Ertz is going to the Dallas Cowboys. And I'm just going to put that out there right now.
He's not
a chance in hell. He's not getting traded this year. And if he's getting traded, it ain't to that team. Yeah. I promise you that. But yeah, I just got it. Like before we go here, I just got to think that, again, like you said, not only does he have that mental part of it, like, okay, these dudes have barely played in the NFL for 8 snaps probably, but the fact that thought is actually getting backed up by evidence of you getting punched in the mouth every time you drop back, and your coach doing nothing to help you, not putting the ball in a running back's hand and having you take six-step dropbacks and trying to deliver the ball from the pocket. Like, just, oh my God, I'm going to lose my mind. You don't run the ball. You don't roll the kid out of the pocket. You don't throw a screenplay in there. You don't, like, if you watched the Los Angeles Rams last night, what did they do to that Dallas front? Screen. If we play the Dallas Cowboys and Doug Peterson does not run a screenplay against the Dallas Cowboys, I give up. I absolutely give up.
Yeah.
But that being said, any last reactions, guys, to yesterday's game, and how confident are you going into week 2?
You go ahead, Dave.
Okay. One point that I wanted to make is that for Doug Peterson's tenure in Philadelphia, there's always one stupid game early in the season that they just blow. Every season. I think it was Dallas. Not Dallas. Detroit a couple years ago.
Well, you had the Detroit game last year. You had the 17-point. Yeah. You had the 17-point fourth quarter Carolina game.
There's just always one stupid loss that at the beginning of the season that is just inexcusable. And I'm hoping that this is it. Like this is the one, and we can move forward. I think, the guys on this team and the coaching staff, they're all competitors. They want to be better. They want to get wins for the city. I think that, if this is the worst that we got to deal with for the season, whatever, just get it out of our heads. Please just put a better product on the field at the end of the day.
This is going to be interesting.
That's scary.
But what I will say is, now if Lane Johnson doesn't play this week, my confidence level is in the shitter.
Yeah.
If Lane Johnson plays, I'm fine. I understand you're going to have Nate Herbig or Jack Driscoll or whoever they're most confident in playing right guard. But outside of that, you have 4 of your starters of Lane Johnson and Jason Kelce sandwiching whoever's playing that right guard position. I personally would like to see Jack Driscoll play over Nate Herbig. And then if you get Miles Sanders back, that's the thing for me. If these injuries are really – if I can trust Doug and the front office and these injuries are not a big deal and they kept them out of week 1 and they're going to play week 2 and then they're fine going forward for the season, I'm confident in this team to turn things around. I believe in Carson Wentz. I don't think he has a collapse like that ever again, especially not for this season. But Dave, real quick to go back to your point, that is typical of Doug. Or even later in the season, when they lose to the Miami Dolphins and you think the season's over and then they turn around. The issue is, they didn't have that the Super Bowl year.
Good point.
They had that in the years they underachieve and they lose more. Not that they made it to the playoffs 3 of his first 4 years, outside of Carson's and his rookie year together. But the Super Bowl year, they did not have a collapse like that. They were a great team. And I think that the part that sucked the most, again, is not only was I saying, wow, Carson looks like he's in MVP form in the first half. I also was saying, just imagine when this team gets Sanders and Barnett and Hargrave and Lane back to add to this beatdown that they put on a bad team. And the last thing I said was, what do great teams do to bad teams?
Blow them out.
And the first half, I was like, wow, this has the makings to be that kind of statement. And then not. So right now, I had to get this reaction show out of the way. I couldn't wait till Thursday. It's too far away. I want to be in the mindset. I want to be positive going into next Sunday. But right now, I'm just so deflated and so everything went wrong.
I agree.
I have nothing. I mean, I can't say I have nothing positive to take away. I think the defense did actually look really good when they were able to start a drive on not their side of the 50-yard line. So that is a positive to take away from it. So let's hope we keep getting to that. Eagles lose 31-24. Is that for this week against the Rams, I'm assuming? Yeah. Yes, it is. Eagles lose 31-24.
Before we go, I just don't know how I can be positive for next week at this state of mind.
Yeah.
But hopefully come Thursday when we do this again, I'll be able to be positive.
I'm going to say this right now, by the way. Obviously, we'll dive into this Thursday. We'll have an Eagles weekly preview tomorrow night that we'll be doing on Party on Broad. So I'll try to be a little more in a better mind state then to talk about it.
Yeah, get it out.
There's two things. You're going to learn a lot about this team and this team's character going into this week after a bad loss to a team frankly, a JV team. So you're going to see how they turn around in that aspect. And if they lose this week, I'm not even kidding you, this is a must-win week. Again, me and you have talked about this a lot. Oh, yeah. This schedule is so tough. 3-0 was thrown around there a lot. Like people were like, you kind of have to go 3-0 to start this year. At minimum 2-1, 3-0 would be like nice because you have the Washington football team, the Rams at home, and then Cincinnati with a rookie Joe Burrow. Well, now you blew that game. You go 0-2 with this upcoming schedule, and you're in a world of trouble.
All I gotta say,
a lot of injuries. And just please, can we get out on one game without more injuries? I mean, for God's sake, we went into the game one of the most beat up teams in the league, missing starter here, missing starter here, missing starter there. Brandon Graham's now in concussion protocol. Craig James, who they brought back as cornerback depth, and they made a captain, is dealing with a severe injury. Vinny Curry is going to be out for 4 to 5 weeks now with a hamstring injury.
He sucks.
Boston Scott got hurt. Jack Driscoll got hurt. I mean, it's all over the damn place.
No, yeah. I think this team's looking for a sense of leadership somewhere this week. We need to find something. Malcolm Jenkins is gone. There has to be somebody that steps up. And they're trying to force Jalen Mills to turn into Malcolm Jenkins. It's never going to happen.
I'll tell you right now who it has to be.
Number 11.
Yep.
Yeah.
In 110. He needs to go into this week. I think he will. I hope he does. He needs to go into this week and say, look, I'm the man. I know I have to be the man. This game's on me. Even though I just ripped Doug for 25 minutes, partially on Carson. Carson needs to go in. This game was on me and move forward. That's it.
I agree. And another thing is he has to steal us a game this year. Like when we looked at the schedule, we broke it down. We said, okay, probably around 10 wins was like where most of us were on average. It's like that was one of the wins that we should have had. Now he needs
so now Carson needs to play out of his mind and take a game from the Ravens, from San Fran, in Pittsburgh, something of that nature.
Yep.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree with you. I think we're all in a bad state of mind right now. So no, we're not going positive. Yesterday, you're like, this might be a 6-7 win team we're looking at here. I know it feels that way. I still do believe that they can turn this around, and they're around a 10-win team, give or take a game or two. Not two, but 9, 10, 11 wins, I think. And to make it better, to end the show, the Dallas Cowboys lost.
Yep.
So, and I'm assuming the New York Football Giants
they're getting smoked tonight.
They're going to lose tonight to Pittsburgh. So the only team with a win in the NFC East is the Washington Football Team. And I think we all can agree that this season is going to come down to the Eagles and Cowboys. So the fact that the Cowboys are 0-1 as well doesn't matter. Look, I know that it sucks the way we lost, but at the end of the day, we're both 0-1. So it doesn't matter how we got there. Move forward. Go get a win against the Rams this week. All right.
Yeah, we could win next week, and it's like this.
And then it turns around. Dude, we could go into next week and beat the Rams 31-13. And then we're all saying, there was just injuries. Like if Lane plays and Miles Sanders goes off for 160, we'll have a much different tone here, okay? But Carson, please go back to at least some resemblance of your MVP self from the first half.
First quarter, Carson.
And Doug, run the football. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll be back next Monday, hopefully in a much better tone. Tune in this Thursday to the Phaithful Phanatics podcast.